So this week, one of my colleagues turned to a life of conspiracy and crime. I'm going to tell you about it on our segment, Anything But Politics. I'm Jenna, and this is Smarter News. All right, let's take a deep breath collectively. It's been another big week of news. We have animals being pulled back from extinction, sort of. We have commonly held beliefs being challenged yet again, and good old-fashioned stock market drama. So easy day. Let's get started with our segment, Anything But Politics. My colleague Stephanie admitted she wanted to steal something this week. It turns out that something is a direwolf puppy. A direwolf is a large predatory wolf that went extinct 10,000 years ago. But a company, in fact, the company that inspired our first segment, Anything But Politics, called Colossal Biosciences, announced they used technology and DNA pulled from fossils to create an animal similar to a modern day direwolf. And they just released video of these darling puppies. I say similar because critics say these headlines about pulling animals back from extinction, they're not totally accurate. They say these puppies look like a direwolf. They may howl like a direwolf, but they ain't no direwolf. They're mostly a gray wolf, like the base DNA used to create the direwolf DNA. So bottom line, not a clone. It's not a clone. It's not exactly Jurassic Park. Or is it? Even scientists who critique what Colossal is doing say this is really amazing science that we're experiencing together. And it does bring up all sorts of ethical questions. For now, there are some really cute puppies who have genetic material pulled from a direwolf tooth fossil. And we're going to see what they look like in the next year. Stephanie has assured me she will contain herself for now, which is good because we actually need her at Smarter News and not behind bars. Speaking of teeth, one story I am curious about this week is fluoride. Admittedly, I wasn't thinking about this topic until I heard this from Secretary Kennedy.
Fluoride should not be in our water. Fluoride had a strong justification in the 1940s when it was added and people didn't understand the science and they thought its benefit to our teeth was systemic. By drinking it, it would enter your body and somehow protect your teeth. Now we know that there is no systemic advantage, zero systemic advantage, and that the only advantage comes from topical application. So it's the water that passes through your mouth. You can achieve that benefit from brushing your teeth. And in the era of fluoridated toothpastes and mouthwashes, it makes no sense to have fluoride in our water. The evidence against fluoride is overwhelming. In animals, in animal models, and in human models, we know that it causes IQ loss.
He said that earlier this week, and I posted that soundbite on social media. And listen, people just lose their minds over Secretary Kennedy, either cheering him on or jeering him. It always creates quite the reaction. But I'm sort of caught outside of that wondering, how did we even get here? Why did we even do this? What do we need to know about fluoride? Why did we ever put fluoride in anything? Turns out it actually started with teeth staining. So in the early 1900s, in some areas of the country, people had brown teeth. Apologies to those of you in Colorado. Apparently you had it pretty bad. But it wasn't widespread and it wasn't uniform. And there was something else. Dentists wanted to know why people with brown teeth did not have bad teeth. They had very little tooth decay, in fact. So the teeth didn't look great, but they were mostly healthy. So what gives? Turns out high concentrates of fluoride in the water can stain your teeth. Fluoride occurs naturally in water, depending on your water supply's location. You may have more or less fluoride. Again, Mother Nature. So different water, different fluoride levels, and then different color teeth, depending on where you live as well, once upon a time. Once they figured that out, researchers wondered, is there an acceptable level of fluoride that would not stain teeth, but give us the benefit of not having tooth decay? And that's the research that led to fluoride in our public water system. One thing to note, the researchers were really focused on teeth. At least this is my preliminary reading of this. They weren't worried about fluoride for any other reason. Again, it was naturally occurring. And so we've had fluoride in our public water systems to varying degrees, depending on where you live, for about 70 plus years. But remember, initially it was groundwater, different areas, different levels. It wasn't fluoride introduced into public water systems as it is now. And here we are arriving at this question, is it safe? And so this is a developing story. And now you have a little background. Finally, walking into the office today, I heard on television a stock analyst say, it's a great time to buy because the markets have fallen so much. We've seen such volatility over the last several weeks. And I thought, man, how many times have I heard that before? As I've been covering recessions or financial crisis, it may be a great time to buy if you have money and confidence and a strategy. But listen, headlines like we've seen about the economy and the stock market, global affairs over the last several weeks can make anyone nervous. So I thought about what Warren Buffett once referenced. A few years ago, he quoted a poem from Rudyard Kipling called If in his letter to investors. And what I'm about to read is quoted from Buffett's letter where he cherry-picked a few lines from the poem. The actual full poem is even more powerful. But because Buffett is one of the greatest investors of all time, I just wanted to share the lines that he shared during a time where he was trying to navigate some turmoil. So here I am quoting from that letter. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. What is there yet to say after that? It seems like good advice. It applies in a lot of different areas. I put the full poem in the show notes. It's very short, by the way. It's probably going to take you less than a minute to read, and it might be a good thing for all of us to read this weekend. Just for the record, I trust you, I respect you, and I'm really grateful for you and your support of Smarter News, whatever news cycle it is. That's your Anything But Politics segment. We'll be back to the hard news next week. I'm Jenna. Have a great weekend.